I want to reshoot on this episode of the 11 bike, and the reason why is because it's hard to. It's like anything else.
The hell?
It's like anything else. It's like anything else. You have to warm up.
Cracking up?
Your sunglasses.
Oh, with the sun. Whoa! I forgot about the sunglasses.
I knew you were.
I got used to it. What's the tripping down?
I knew you were gonna
crazy.
I knew you were gonna trip out on when you because you don't realize you have them on.
Yeah.
Anyway, all outdoor masters send us some sport sunglasses for the mail time.
Get off my hand!
Tomatoes. Wolf Tech Nation, thank you guys for tuning into once again another Wolf Tech Videos episode, and this is going to be the in-truck edition.
Well, it's definitely going to be in the truck.
Definitely inside the truck, guys. We're like, you know what? We got AC in the truck.
Super hot. Barely AC in the truck.
So on today's episode, we figured, hey, let's get in the truck and let's talk about two bikes that you can get right now that are about $50. One of them's on sale, about $50. No. What separates the two?
You scared me.
What?
About 50. You said get two bikes that are about $50.
No, ain't $50, but
no,
$50 separates the two, and both of them have some really good features. And we were like, you know what? Let's do a comparison video and let's see what the Wolf Tech Nation thinks about getting either of these bikes. So I'm pretty interested to see what you bring up, what I bring up. I've done some research. I've very scientific. Done a bunch of research, and the two bikes that we're going to be talking about are going to be the Able Core mountain bike. Okay, now is it the Core Able or the Able Core?
Able Core.
It's
Able Bike Company Core.
Okay, there you go. Able Bike Company, the Core. It's a 29er, and our boy Dustin Gastola is the one that hooked us up with that bike, right?
No, we bought it.
Well, I mean, we bought it,
but... He
brought
it to our attention.
He brought it to our attention, all right? So Dustin Gastola, thanks for bringing it to our attention. $349.
Well, we're not going to say someone that gave us a bike that didn't give us a bike.
$349. Shipped. Now,
a lot of people were saying that it was, it wasn't that price anymore. It is. I checked the link the other day.
Heck of a bike.
It is. I think what confuses people is Kent sells it on their website.
Yep. And speaking of hooking us up with bikes, old big sister Brandon and big brother Kevin H, some of our patrons, sent us, well, actually delivered us the 11 bike, the M1.
Yes.
And that's the other bike we're going to be talking about. Yeah, $399 right now. You can get it at either Sun and Ski, or you can even go to the 11 website, and that's with free shipping. But if you remember, that bike, the price that they paid was $550, so it's on sale right now.
Yeah, it is. Well, and bikes, I can't talk. Bikes are starting to come down a little bit, I think, finally. I think there's been
Thankfully, they're starting to come down.
Well, I think what happened is, that the moment's over for a lot of people, but it's not just that. I think what happened is the production ramped up because it was such demand, and then now the supply outmatches the demand versus vice versa, and finally it's coming down.
And see, that's something super interesting because the Able bike, pretty much just come out, but you got to think that
we don't know if it just come out.
That was right at a year ago that the M11 came out, and the thing that's interesting with that bike is it had a whole bunch of really good features, in my opinion. Had some really crazy stuff that bike came with. I don't know if you guys remember that. Make sure you guys go back, check that video out. Initial impressions, real-time review, and
it was longer.
And we even did a time trial on that bike. That's back when the day when we were doing the time trials.
Yeah, the time trials.
Yeah. So that bike, again, $399. It's the 11 M1. Both of these bikes come size. You can get small, medium, large, maybe extra large.
M1 11 or 11 M1?
I don't know. We'll go with the M11 or something, or the M1. Now, both of them are 29ers, size small is the frames that we've got, okay? Now,
I think they each come in a small, medium, large.
Absolutely, yeah, and maybe extra large, I'm not too sure on that. But we got the small, so I'm a smaller guy, I'm 5'5", and the standover on both these bikes was pretty good.
Smaller, you're straight small.
I'm snack size. So the bike size was really good, okay, the standover. Both of these bikes, as far as the riding experience, it actually felt like the first time I was ever on the 29er that I felt good on, that I felt in control. So that's definitely a plus. But let's start talking about some of the specs with these bikes. And the first thing I want to bring up are both of these bikes did come with free hubs.
Yes.
And one came with a little bit more of an, in my opinion, of an upgraded group set than the other one did. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about.
Well, no, I don't. Let's break that down a little bit. One's an 11 speed and one's an 8 speed.
Okay. but it's a closed tooth count on the cassette. But let's talk about the 8-speed. The 8-speed, the Able Core mountain bike, came with a chain stabilized Acolyte group set. That's got the 12 to 46 tooth cassette, and it's also a 1x, okay? Such a good group set. That thing is rock solid. We've ran that for a long time on different bikes, and a lot of the Wolf Nation actually still uses that group set today because it was super budget at the time. It was like 70 or 80 bucks. I'm not too sure now what it cost.
All in, yeah, but it was pretty budget for a good group set with the stabilizer.
With the stabilizer, and we did the drop test and all that, and with a 12 to 46 tooth, definitely doesn't kill you in the climbing department. It could be better.
No, and it's not bad.
No, and when
with
we talk,
the 30 tooth front chain ring, it's great.
Yeah, and when we talk about being better, the 11, that bike came with an 11 to 50 tooth S-Ride group set. Now, the S-Ride group set that the 11 came with wasn't too bad. I rewatched the footage on the shift test. It was smooth, you know. I'm sure there was some chain slap on the real-time review. Not a bad ride whatsoever, but when it comes to these two bikes, and remember, there's only $50 difference, and you guys are gonna trip out some of the features that the M11 came with because, or the M1, you guys can trip out some of those features because I don't remember if you guys are that refreshed on that bike. When I rewatched the footage,
that refreshed. Yeah,
I started freaking out a little bit, like, oh my God, this bike has got some stuff
to it.
Well,
it does, but there was some things about it that kind of gave pause a little bit too.
But there are also some things that gave pause on the Able Core bike, and they're pretty similar, okay? So that's the group set. Now, when we talk about the crankset, both of them have 170mm crank.
So if we're giving a point to one of them for a group set, which one are we giving the point to? Is the M111, is it stabilized?
It's not stabilized.
Okay, so to get that, but
I gotta
it's got
get
way better gearing.
I know, 11 to 50 tooth. But I have to give the point to the Able Core. And the reason why is because it's an Acolyte.
Yeah.
11 to 46 tooth. I'm never mad at that thing when it comes to climbing. So that Able bike beats it, I think, in the group set department.
Let's just give it a point.
We'll give it a point.
Tally some points up or something.
Now let's talk about the cranksets. Both of them are rocking a 30 tooth round chain ring. Okay. 170mm crank arms.
Wide?
Yeah, both narrow wide. 170mm crank arms. But like we just talked about, the 11 mountain bike has got the hollow bottom bracket. And that saves on weight. When we get to the weight, you're going to see some of the weight savings.
Yeah, I can't remember the weight, so that's good.
Yeah, so that's going to be a good one. But the Able Core did come with a sealed bottom bracket.
Okay, yeah, which sealed's better than that other crap, but it's not quite the hollow bottom bracket.
It's not quite the hollow. You know, everybody wants to do the 1x hollow with the IXF and the Gene Quinn like we've done here recently, but when a bike comes with a hollow bottom bracket, I remember that. I think that was the first thing I looked at when Big Sister Brandon delivered it to us. I was like, oh my gosh, what have we got here, you know? So that was super exciting, especially on the real-time review, and just getting to actually talk about a bike that came with that for now $550, but that bike is $399, so that's a pretty good feature, I think.
Okay.
I think the 11
so the 11 gets a point.
I think the 11 gets a point
for the better of the crankset.
Yes, absolutely. I think it does.
All right.
Okay, now let's talk about. We'll kind of go up towards the top of the bike. We're going to be talking about the seat post tubes and some of the difficulties, the sizing, and something very interesting that I did not know till I rewatched some footage. Okay. The seat post tube diameter on the Able Core mountain bike is a 30.9mm.
Yes.
Okay, a little bit fatter.
Yeah.
Something that people, apparently it's a big deal. You know, some of the bigger riders like that, and it's a little bit easier to find dropper post. But the M11 has got a 31.8.
Which, now, what is the availability of stuff on that?
I don't know. I really don't know. I have never researched dropper post that fat before.
Yeah.
You know, but there's
You can always shim them down too, right?
Yeah, you can always shim them down, shim them up. So you can get like a 27.2, make it fit something a little bit wider with those shims.
Yeah, I'd say
we've never done that, but you can shim them up, I guess is what that would be. Okay.
Well, but now we haven't tried it yet either on the Able Core, just the Able bike, whatever.
Yeah.
They, you know, with the seat tube situation, everyone knows it's the big old elephant in the room these days. But people were saying in the comments that we may be able to get like a 27.2 dropper, and it'd go down into more because it's narrow.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And then just shim
because that's got that bend to it. Now, what he's talking about is definitely a negative when it comes to these bikes. The Core actually has a crook in the seat post tube, and you can't get that damn seat post down. So dropping your seat post, I actually had to ride that bike with the seat post, not recommended, don't do it at home, but I had to ride with it strapped to my back just so I could really maneuver that bike. Had it not been for me taking that out and thinking real quick and flying scientific like, it'd probably been not that fast or fun of a ride going down the Cat's Mountain.
You premeditated it, and it was dumb. It was so dumb you wouldn't tell me what you were going to do.
Yeah, I was just about going to cut the seat post down.
So you just nullified your BS.
So that's a problem. The 11 bike, mountain bike, you know, it's got the 31.8mm seat post tube. You can drop that sucker all the way down, but something interesting that I'm going to bring up, and you guys let us know, where would you give the point to? Neither bike has internal routing for a dropper. Did you know that?
Yes, I believe
both of those bikes have internal routing, right? But neither of them have internal routing for a dropper. The Able Core, you can't put a seat post in because they're crook in the neck, and the 11 you can't, because it kind of seems like that bike was set up to have a 3x up front. If you remember, there was some little welded points for like a derailleur group set up front, but it is a 1x. So that was something really interesting that I noticed. Where would you give the point to on both of those bikes, having that information?
Well, I would give it to the M111, just based on the fact that the Able, I know the design is there maybe for a little bit more, you know, rear wheel room and all that kind of stuff, but not being able to drop that seat post down where you can in the M111, right? I think that alone, I mean, because if you're not going to go dropper, or even if you are going to go dropper, maybe the lever style like we've done before or whatever, I'd say the M111 gets a point.
Okay. Next,
you can't get it right either.
We are going to bring up, this is going to be very interesting for those of you that remember both of these bikes. Super interesting. Let's talk about the fork department. Okay?
Okay, now this is hard to, this is going to be a hard one for me.
Yeah.
Because if everybody knows, this is another elephant in the room, everybody that watched the M111 knows it was a super letdown because the air valve in the fork was no good, right?
Yes.
So technically, I wonder if we could replace that and then it'd be more functional. But I don't want to, not everybody's going to experience that. That happened to be just the copy we had.
But see, that's something to be noted. Wolfman's talking about the air valve, or the, you know, the stem.
Yeah, it has an air fork.
It's got an air fork, unbranded.
No rebound.
No rebound.
Air fork, though.
Backwards arch.
Oh, that's right, it was.
100 millimeters of travel. Not a terrible fork, but it's like, well, damn, you can't even use it because the rebound and you couldn't adjust the air. So that was a bummer on that bike.
Our copy, unfortunately, didn't work with the valve, but we can get a new valve maybe. Air fork with remote lockout, no rebound, versus the Able's fork. That's where you come in.
XCM 3100 millimeter travel coil fork. I think it's got a lockout on there.
I can't remember if it's
heavy
a lockout
fork,
or double preload.
Yeah, I think it's a lockout, but it's got a heavy fork, and it's a coil. You know, nothing to be excited about, and that's usually one of the first things to go when it comes to the big upgrade department. You know what I'm saying? So even though...
Yeah, I don't know if either fork is really overall better as far as performance goes, but I would say this. I would rather have, with a working valve, the M111's fork, because the remote lockout, it's another option you can have. I know you're not huge on it because it's cluttery, but the remote lockout, and it has and it's air and it's light, it's going to be lighter.
Yeah.
So I would give that the point just based on that, and then performance aside. And I think performance-wise probably be pretty close.
Yeah, no rebound, but I mean, there's some real budget forks out there that don't have a rebound either. You know. Yeah. But the 11 gets the point on that.
It might not be recording because it has a 10-minute limit.
Clap test. Okay, now when it comes to the tires, the 11 has got 29 by 2.25 CST Jackrabbit Slims. Okay, watch the footage back. Those things definitely track some mud, and it wasn't all that great in my little slick turn department. Okay.
Yeah, but the flip side of that, the Able Core tires, I think, are Kendas.
Yeah, they're Kendas. But they're 29 by 2.20.
Okay, 2.20.
But the tread was very similar.
Was it?
Yeah,
okay.
The tread was very similar.
Huge, but you weren't against the Able tires. So I mean, is one of them better than the other?
I mean, the Jackrabbit Slims are 2.25. Well, actually, I have 2.25 on the Kendas as well.
Okay.
So it must be the same.
Probably the same tire.
It might be the same tire, guys.
Who knows? But maybe just call it a half a point each.
Half a point each, but the 11, the frame on that, will allow, and you said this yourself, you think it may allow for a 2.6 tire on the rear.
Okay, yeah, possibly,
yeah, so a little bit fatter. I think most people are going to say that the 11 is going to get the win. They're going to point on that. The other thing, and this is going to be a big one, some of you guys are automatically going to say, okay, the 11 wins. The head tube size.
Okay, the head tube with the 11, I think, is tapered.
Yes, the 11 is tapered.
Okay, and then the able is a 44-44.
44-44.
You have been hoodwinked by the whole idea of tapered head tubes like everybody else has.
Yes.
And I have to keep reminding you, as well as the Wolftic Nation, you actually have a lot more, in the 44-44, you have a lot more leeway to do things easier. Because you can put a tapered headset on it, the cup, you know?
The cup, yeah.
Or you can go a slacker, which like a 2 degree or something.
Yeah, negative 2 degree, negative 1 degree.
So you could actually make it, if you wanted to slack your bike out safely, you know, you could do it with that headset and put a tapered fork on there.
Yeah.
So I think
some people that's a big deal, some people it's not a huge deal. But I think more people automatically looking at the bike.
It's a big deal. They'll want that tapered head tube.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Looking at the bike, they go, "Oh crap, it's got tapered." Bam,
yeah.
You know. And the 11s looks really good too. You know?
People that say it's not marketing, this and that, well then tell me why real cheap bikes will put it on there and then put a crap fork on it. It's because they know people are going to see that and they're going to go, "Oh, I want that because that's tapered head tube."
The Axums.
You know, yeah. I mean, it's definitely for marketing. It's not for performance.
So who gets the point?
It's at this level.
Who gets the point? Is there any points given?
Well, I mean, my opinion is I like the 44-44 for the versatility.
I like the tapered because it's
there. You
there.
like the tapered, so...
And you know, you can do the same exact thing. You can get a tapered head tube that has the reducer and run a straight steer on there. You know, so you can go both ways.
You sort of. It's not a good... It's never gone together
never good. But
I don't like it the way it goes together. It's never good. It's always sketchy. And what about slacking it out?
I don't know if you can get a tapered slacked out.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You just don't have as much options.
Do they both get a point?
I guess they both get a point. Because they're both not the GT's 34-34.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Okay, now, the next thing that we're going to talk about, and again, in my opinion, the 11 keeps on shining bright like a diamond. Okay?
Boy.
The 11, we're going to talk about brakes. The 11 has hydraulic brakes.
But the hydraulic brakes weren't the greatest hydraulic brakes.
No, they were knockoff MT200s. Probably a Zoom. Yeah, they looked just like MT200s. Even the bleed ports were in the same position. Huh. They just were unbranded. The levers felt not really quite Shimano grade, more Zoom style. But it did have hydraulic brakes.
And they were definitely better than the Able brakes.
Yes, definitely better than the Able brakes. Able brakes, you know, the mechanicals, but both of them also did have, if it makes that big of a difference, they both had 160mm rotors.
Okay, both bikes are equal on the rotors?
Yeah.
Alright. So, that is easy, given a point to the M111.
M111 gets the point because it has hydraulic brakes. Now, let's talk about the final topic here is going to be the weight of both bikes.
Okay, the stock weight.
The stock weight. Now, the interesting thing is both these bikes we have not done any upgrades to yet. Okay? The stock weight of the Able mountain bike, 32.48 pounds, which is 14.73 kilograms. No, these are 29ers now. This is pretty low. And that's got the coil fork on there, guys. So you got to think, you replace that coil fork, you might be, depending on what fork is, you might be in the 29 highs, okay? The 11 weighed 30.56,
wow,
which is
almost under
13.86 kilograms. I mean, that is almost 20, that's almost in the 20s right there. And that's got the air fork, that's got the hollow bottom bracket, which saves some weight. I don't know what else you can do to that bike.
Able, as soon as you go air fork and hollow bottom brackets, will be under 30 pounds.
It'll be under 30, yeah. So I don't know what else you could do to the 11 to make it lighter. You know, they both got plastic pedals and stuff like that, but they're both aluminum frames. So that's pretty interesting. So that is the weight department. They're super close. I mean, $50 apart right now.
The group sets on both of them are probably good enough for a while.
Yeah, you guys can check out the links in the description below. I don't think we'll be able to find any affiliate links for these bikes, but it's just something interesting we want to do a video on because these things are so close. I think for me, the overall win will go to the 11 bike.
Okay.
Good looking bike, small 29er.
I think they're both good.
Hydraulic brakes, good out of the gates. But then you start thinking, hey, I would rather pay to upgrade my brakes. You know, I don't want to ride with these. And there's a lot of guys out there that are like that. I'd rather mechanical and then upgrade myself, you know.
Well, that's what I was kind of thinking. If you can get past the seat post situation,
yeah.
To me, I like the Able better if you get past the seat post, because I favor a little bit the head tube. I know it sounds weird to some, and then also I'm gonna upgrade the brakes anyway on either bike.
Yes, absolutely, and rotors.
So I might as well go ahead and save 50 towards the brakes, and then but my thing is getting past the seat. I'm not a dropper guy. So for me, it would, but I know I'm not looking at it for me, because I wouldn't ride a small 29er anyway.
Yeah.
But I'm just, plus I'm an e-bike guy now. But if I were getting a bike for somebody that rides like you, I would have a hard time pulling the trigger on a bike that I know how much you like droppers. I would have a hard time pulling the trigger on the bike that we don't know if we can put a dropper in or not.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, again, two very interesting bikes. Let us know what you guys think in the comments. Which one would you buy? Perhaps you're actually looking at these two bikes, or you didn't know about the 11, you didn't know about the Able Core. Very interesting. We brought up some good topics. We brought up some prices. $50 is what the difference is right now.
What was the point totals?
I don't know. We'll have to put it on the screen.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. Well, you know, we didn't add the point goes to the Able for being cheaper.
For being cheaper, yeah.
So
overall price, weight
goes to 11. The 11.
We got some stuff to talk about. We got some graphics put up on the screen. But guys, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you enjoyed the truck talk episode.
Yeah.
And we will see you guys on the next episode.
Being out of the shop and in the air.
Well, it's nice to change it up a little bit.
And we're heading to the gym, so it's like killing two birds with one stone.
Yeah, we're working while we're working.
That's right. That's what we do here at Wolf Take Videos.
All right, guys, we will see you on the next episode.
Yeah.